Hey, hello, grab your coffee, quit your job. Nah, just kidding. Let's figure out why we work at all. Why do we spend so much of our lives working? Sitting in offices, staring at screens, joining meetings, working our ass off in big factories, day after day, year after year. It is really just about money? Or is there something deeper going on? Humans have always worked to survive, to build, to belong. But today, with all our machines, smart tools and AI, shouldn't we be working less? And here's a bigger question. If we didn't need to work, would we still do it? This video isn't just about jobs. It's about meaning, identify, and the strange system we've built around productivity. Let's dive in.
Chapter 1. The Origins of Work, from Survival to Society. Before there were jobs, offices, or email chains, humans worked to survive. Hunting, gathering, building shelter. Work was about staying alive. It wasn't optional. It wasn't about ambition. It was pure necessity. But over time, something changed. As humans formed communities, work became more than survival. We began to specialize. Some made tools, others grew food, others protected the tribe. This division of labor made societies more efficient, but it also started to shape identity. To be a blacksmith, a farmer, a healer, wasn't just a task. It became who you were. Fast forward a few thousand years. Empires, religions, and monarchies built systems where people worked not just to live, but to serve, obey, and belong. Then came money, a clever invention that turned work into trade. Now, instead of sharing or bartering, we could put a price on time, skill, and effort. Work slowly became a currency of value. Not just physical, but social. The harder you worked, the more you earned. And often, the more respect you got. Eventually, society began to expect work. It became a moral standard. Lazy was bad. Hardworking was good. Even survival became tied to how useful you were. But underneath all this evolution, from caveman to capitalist, the core idea stayed the same. You work, or you don't survive.
Chapter 2: Capitalism and the Productivity Myth. As the modern world took shape, work became more than just survival, it became a system. Enter capitalism. In theory, capitalism rewards effort, innovation, and productivity. You work hard, you earn money. You build something valuable, you succeed. Sounds fair, right? But here's the twist. In capitalism, productivity became the holy grail. Suddenly, time wasn't just time, it was money. Every hour needed to be optimized. Every worker needed to perform. And if you weren't productive, you were seen as lazy, useless, even morally flawed. That's the productivity myth. The idea that your value as a human equals how much you produce. But humans aren't machines. We get tired. We have emotions. We slow down. Still, capitalism doesn't care. It wants growth. Always. Forever. So we created tools, schedules, deadlines, and hierarchies. Not to make life easier, but to squeeze more out of each day. And it worked. Kind of. Companies grew. Cities expanded. We built highways, hospitals, and high-rises. But at what cost? Mental health issues skyrocketed. Burnout became normal. People started measuring self-worth by job titles and LinkedIn profiles. We learned to say, I am what I do. And that's dangerous. Because if your job disappears, who are you then? The system doesn't just want you to work. It wants you to believe in work. To believe that success means hustle. And that rest equals weakness. But the deeper truth: productivity doesn't always equal value. And capitalism, while powerful, doesn't care about meaning. Only results. So if we're not careful, We end up chasing promotions instead of purpose. In this chapter, we saw how work shifted from survival to performance, and how capitalism turned productivity into a modern religion. But that religion was about to be tested by something no one saw coming. Chapter 3: How the pandemic changed work forever. For decades, work meant one thing: commute, office, 9 to 5. Meetings in boardrooms, suits and coffee machines. But then, everything stopped. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, millions of people were suddenly forced to work from home. No more traffic jams. No more cubicles. Just laptops, living rooms, and a lot of video calls. At first, it felt strange. Then, it started to feel normal. We realized something shocking. Much of our work could be done from anywhere. People found new rhythms. Some started working in pajamas. Others worked from a beach or a cabin in the woods. For the first time, flexibility wasn't a luxury. It was the default. Companies noticed too. Productivity didn't crash. In some cases, it even went up. So, why were we ever in offices to begin with? The pandemic didn't just change where we worked, it changed how we thought about work itself. Suddenly, questions popped up. Do I really need to live in a big city? Why do I spend 2 hours commuting every day? Is my job actually meaningful? Do I want to go back to normal? People began to reevaluate everything. Some quit their jobs. Others started freelancing, side hustling, or chasing long postponed dreams. Work became more personal, more human, and, for many, more free. But freedom has its limits. Remote work blurred boundaries. Home became office. Workdays became endless. Burnout didn't disappear. It just got quieter. And for essential workers, there was no remote option. They kept the world running, often with little reward. So did the pandemic set us free? Yes, and no. It showed us what's possible. It challenged the 9-to-5 model. It gave us a taste of something new. But it also exposed inequalities, and reminded us how fragile the system really is. Still, something changed. And for many, there's no going back. Chapter 4: The Game Changer, Rethinking Work. In the age of AI. For centuries, work was tied to human effort. You needed hands to build, brains to plan, and bodies to execute. But now, something new is happening, something big. Artificial intelligence. AI isn't just a tool. It's not a faster calculator or a smarter spreadsheet. It's a system that can think, learn, and, sometimes, create. It writes code. It diagnoses diseases. It even writes YouTube scripts. Hi. And suddenly, we're asking questions that sound like science fiction. What if AI can do my job better than I can? What happens to human workers? And if we don't have to work anymore, then what? Let's break it down. AI and automation are already transforming industries. Factories use robots. Banks use algorithms. Media uses bots. Even art is going digital. This means millions of jobs could disappear, not because of outsourcing, but because of outsmarting. At the same time, new jobs are emerging: AI trainers, prompt engineers, ethics designers. But here's the truth: these new jobs are fewer, more specialized, and often less accessible. So where does that leave the rest of us? This is where one idea gets serious: universal basic income. If AI can produce enough value for everyone, maybe people could receive money just for existing. That would break the oldest link in human history. Work equals survival. Imagine a world where your needs are covered, and you work only if you want to. Some would create. Some would travel. Others might just relax, and that's okay. But others ask, would people become lazy? Would society collapse? Or would we finally discover what we really want to do? There's no easy answer. But one thing's clear: AI is forcing us to rethink the very purpose of work. It's not just about jobs disappearing. It's about redefining value. What makes a life meaningful when survival is no longer at stake? For the first time in history, we're facing a future where work is optional, and choice becomes the new currency. Are we ready for that? Chapter 5, Final Thought: Maybe it's time to redefine work. The work has been part of our lives for thousands of years. It helped us survive, build communities, and find purpose. But today, things are changing fast. With AI, remote work, and new ideas like universal basic income, the meaning of work is no longer clear. Maybe work doesn't have to be a punishment or just a way to pay bills. Maybe work can be something we choose freely.
Thank you, AI. And now my personal take. Work has always been more than just a way to pay the bills. It shapes how we see ourselves and how we connect with others. But with new technologies and changing lifestyles, I believe it's time to rethink what work really means. Maybe we don't have to define ourselves by our jobs anymore. Maybe work should be about passion, creativity and freedom, not just survival or money. So, what do you think? I'm curious to hear your views. And if you like this video, please subscribe, like and comment below. Thanks, gracias y dankeschön, and see you soon. Don't forget to upgrade your reality.